Generative AI is growing rapidly, and companies everywhere are actively hiring people who truly understand these concepts. Gen AI jobs pay high. People who understand the concept are getting better roles and higher salaries consistently. However, many candidates still struggle to explain even basic ideas clearly. The real problem is not lack of knowledge, but lack of clear communication during interviews. In fact, most people fail here when simple questions are asked under pressure. This gap between knowing and explaining often leads to missed opportunities. One question appears very frequently in generative AI interviews and catches many candidates off guard. It usually comes as a common question prompting in large language models. And this is exactly where many answers start to fall apart. Imagine sitting in an interview room, waiting for the question to begin. The moment feels tense as the interview starts and attention shifts to you. The pressure slowly builds as you prepare to respond. The interviewer looks up and asks a direct question without any hints. Can you explain types of prompting in large language models in a simple way? This is where clarity becomes critical. The candidate takes a deep breath and begins speaking in a calm and structured manner. This is where the candidate answers with confidence and clarity. Instead of rushing, the explanation starts step by step. The explanation begins with a simple overview to set the context. The model uses 3 types of prompting techniques in practice. Each one changes how the output is generated. Instead of jumping into theory, a simple real-world example is introduced. This real example helps make the concept easy to understand. It also keeps the explanation engaging. A sample email is presented to demonstrate the idea clearly. The customer email mentions that the product arrived late and was damaged. Now the focus shifts to how prompts affect the result. The first technique introduced is the simplest one. This is known as zero-shot prompting in large language models. Here, no prior guidance is provided. The model is directly asked to perform the task. There are no examples given to guide its thinking. It depends entirely on its training. The system processes the input and responds quickly. It produces a direct answer without explaining reasoning. This works well for simple cases. A simple analogy helps make this clearer. It is like a new employee working without any training. They rely only on general knowledge. The explanation then moves to the second type of prompting. This is called few-shot prompting in large language models. Here, examples are included before the task. A few sample inputs are shown before asking the actual question. The system uses give examples to guide the expected output. This improves understanding. The model observes these examples carefully before responding. It starts to learn pattern from the provided data and applies it to new inputs. As a result, the answers become more stable and predictable. This leads to better consistency across outputs, especially in repeated tasks. Another analogy helps simplify this idea further. It is like a trained employee who has seen examples before and performs tasks more accurately. Now the explanation moves to the third and more advanced method. This is called chain of thought prompting. Reasoning becomes important here. The system is guided to think before answering. It solves the problem step by step logically, instead of jumping to conclusions. The response now includes reasoning steps. The model begins to show logic clearly, making the process transparent. The final output becomes more detailed and easier to trust. It provides a clear explanation along with the answer, improving understanding. This can again be linked to an interview situation. It is like asking someone to explain thinking step by step, not just give a final answer. Now, all three techniques are brought together for comparison. The explanation shows all three in a simple way, making them easy to remember. The first technique is summarized clearly. Zero shot means just answer without guidance, using existing knowledge. The second technique is explained again briefly. Few shot means learn from examples before answering, which improves consistency. The third technique focuses on reasoning. Chain of thought means think first before answering, step by step. Now an important insight is highlighted clearly. It is the same model in all cases. Only the prompt changes behavior. This leads to a key takeaway. Better prompts lead to better answers, consistently and reliably. A clear and structured definition is now given. This becomes your interview answer, short and impactful. The explanation is completed with confidence. This is your final answer, delivered smoothly, without confusion. The interviewer listens carefully and reacts positively. Clearly, the interviewer is impressed by the clarity and structure. This is where differentiation happens. Now you stand out from other candidates because of clear explanation. This highlights an important career lesson. Clarity builds careers in generative AI, not just knowledge. The journey continues with continuous learning. Keep learning concepts like this regularly, because growth comes from clarity.